What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today in this video, guys, we're going to show you the best strategy to get the most jewel on DeFi kingdoms. So there are a couple of other strategies and a couple things you guys need to keep in mind, and I'm going to tell you the best ones and the ones that you can implement, tell you how much you'll get. I'll break down the numbers, explain which is which, and what you should expect. So first off, guys, I want to get into the, lowest strategy. The lowest strategy would be to claim every single day, and all the tokens that you claim, you go straight to the bank and you deposit them. When you deposit them in the bank, this is going to give you the lowest amount. However, you are going to be getting compound interest, and if there's some crazy trading fees on there, this is going to be your best bet. So if you're about to, or if there's, like, for example, the Gen 0 launch, this literally went from 1.37 joule to 1.47 or 1.46. So keeping that in mind, you're basing this on average volume. I'm going to go ahead and break down the numbers here. This is for the jewel in the bank. So you're going to get 0.3% of, we're just going to call it 4 million per day. Why is it 4 million? Well, if you look at the average volume, it goes from like 7, 5, 4. You can see most of them is around 4. And you have these candles out here that are kind of outliers. So that's something to keep in mind. That's why I kind of said an average of 4 million. In my opinion, this DEX is going to be getting more and more volume. But you also got to factor in, when that happens, more and more people are going to be staking in the bank. And I'll show you the totals once this number pops up there. So you can see in the bank there's 662,000, and staking there's 39 million. All right, so here's the numbers. Here's like a quick breakdown. As you can see, 0.08% of 4 million in trading volume. Obviously, in my opinion, I think this is going to be increasing as long as everything's relative, like more trading volume and so on. As you can, like, Uniswap does way more than that. As you can see here on SushiSwap, the average volume they do every single stinking day, just on average, is $274 million. Obviously, this is on Ethereum's chain. This is not on Harmony One, so that's something to keep in mind. But that's just how you guys can keep everything somewhat relative or related to it. The Ethereum, this is on SushiSwap. Obviously, it's multi-chain, but Uniswap gets way more. So that's how you guys can capture in, like, hey, if a chain gets some sort of volume, you can kind of see what it would average a day. So now if you go back to the DeFi Kingdoms pools, as you can see, they're pulling in maybe $4 million a day on average. And if you put the numbers out there, let me show it to you again. 0.08% of 4 million. Now, why is it 0.08? Well, because you get 0.2% of the trading fees. Now, the reason why it's 0.08, because it's a little bit under 0.08. Actually, we're just rounding up for round numbers just to help you guys. But you can see here, you're only getting a third generated of the trading fees generated. So a third of them. That's it. Pure. So basically, you can just call this $3,000 split between, 7,720,000 people in the pool. So for every $100 you put in, you're basically getting 5 cents every single day. Obviously, this is not factoring in compounding, but we're just spitting out regular numbers. Now you multiply that by 365, that's going to give you $18.20 per year if you weren't compounding for $100. So that's about 18.2% APR. So, or you can factor in, since we're going to do everything relative, because everyone's like, hey, is it better to leave your pool tokens in there and let it drop 2% after 7 days? That's an option as well. But obviously, you're not taking into factor the price, because typically after the unlocks, the price usually tanks a bit and then it recovers, or it stays the same. I don't know. It's just prices do what they do. So we're just going to multiply that by 7 days, because we're trying to keep everything relative. So 0.05 times 7, that's going to give us 35 cents. So a little over 0.35% every single week without compounding. So if you were to leave it in there, you're actually getting 2% per week. Yes, there is no compounding in that. There's no potential airdrops. That's literally a claim you have to make. So in theory, if you're taking airdrops aside, not factoring in, could have possibly got airdropped a hero. Some of those Gen 0 heroes are selling for 2,000 jewel, or well, they were dropped for 2,000. I'm sure they're going to go for more because they sold out so quick. But hey, time will tell. We'll see what happens. And airdrops for like end-game items, we don't know the value, so you can't really factor those in. So mathematically, with just the jewel tokens, leaving the locked bonus actually is more. However, it is not the best option. If your goal is to get the most jewel possible, like humanly possible, or maximizing your gains without throwing in more money, just maximizing the money you're dealing with, lping right now is going to be the best way. Now let me break down the math. So if you come over in these farms, you guys can see you got 5,100%, 4,600%, 4,600%. It's like nuts and ham percentage. It's really good percentages in APRs. And obviously a good portion of that is locked up. However, 85% is locked and 15% is unlocked. So you're actually going to be getting a bonus 13%. Now, notice how I didn't say 15%. It's because you have that 0.2% that you're missing out on each time. But when you're getting that additional 13%, that is going to be giving you additional rewards. Now, I understand you are going to be missing out on that 0.02% opportunity cost type of thing, but in the long term, it will leave you with some more locked tokens, as you can see over here. However, so if you're bullish on the game, you'll have a bunch of locked tokens in the future, depending on when the game launches and if it stays successful. So we can't really factor in the lock balance, but we're going to factor in the LP pair. Now, I know a lot of you people are talking about the withdrawal fees. So here, let me show you guys the withdrawal fees. This is something to keep in mind. This is one thing you need to factor in, and it automatically tells you like, hey, this is what your fee is going to be before you withdraw. But if you leave your tokens in there, it doesn't reset when you redeposit. So it automatically stays counting down. So theoretically, after about 4 epochs, I believe is like about a month, a little over a month, it's going to be a 0.01% fee. So that really is negligible. But the biggest thing to understand from this is you're actually going to be getting about a bonus 13 or 12%, because obviously you got to factor in opportunity costs and so on. But you're able to take those LP tokens now and automatically redeposit them. However, there are other factors you have to factor in as well. When you claim and re-LP, there is impermanent loss. So if you're pairing it with a stablecoin, you're probably going to lose out if it goes up. But then again, if it goes down, well, at least you'll get some more jewel, right? But there will be impermanent loss. So that is something to factor in as well. So there are several different factors to keep in mind when doing this. But if you leave it locked, there's going to be no impermanent loss, but there is no compounding and no potential for airdrops. And on top of that, maybe the team may reward the early adopters for using XJewel. I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see what will happen. So theoretically, based on the numbers, to get more and more jewel token, your best bet is going to be withdrawal and re-LP, as long as there's not a crazy price fluctuation. Now, if you're very, very bullish on the game long term and you think it's going to last for like 5 years, 10 years, whatever, then this is going to be your best option to get the most amount of jewel possible, because there is no impermanent loss. Well, theoretically, the most jewel possible. Because if this literally goes like, stays the same, like the same price for like an eternity, well then this is going to be your best option. But if the price does keep going up or it keeps going down, whichever. But if the price does keep going up, this is going to be your best option. However, if it goes down, this will actually be your best option, because what happens when the price goes down? Well, you buy it because you're selling the other side and you're actually buying the dip on the coin. And then leaving the lock bonus, it really doesn't matter. You get what you get. It's pretty simple, self-explanatory. You get the Jewel token. If it goes up, well, you have more dollar value worth of Jewel. If it goes down, you have less dollar value. So just summing up the whole entire video, if you want to maximize gains, and as long as the price stays the same or somewhat stable, this is going to be your best option right here to maximize your gains. Now, the second option to maximize the amount of Jewel that you get, and if the price, everything stays relative, if it lasts for 5 years, this is going to be your best option. But if it's a quick, short pump dump type of thing, or is like short-lived, then this is going to be your best option right here. Because if it's short-lived, you're able to have those tokens there, and you're going to have more unlocked at a certain time. Because each time you claim these, you are claiming at that time. So if you let like 2% each week accumulate, you're actually going to have more unlocked rewards. Now let me explain what I mean by that. So let's give you an example of this to break it down. Say for example, you've earned a total of 1,000 Jewel, and the current unlock is 85%. So 15% is unlocked, 85% is locked. So that means when you go to hit that claim button, you will get 150 Jewel. Now also to notice, when you claim that, you will also have 850 Jewel that is locked. It's still about 2023, and they do talk about the dates when the full unlock is inside the docs. So I highly recommend you guys take a look into the docs. So if you just let it sit there, 850 are locked and then 150 are unlocked. Now, as soon as that ticker drops to 83%, you now have 170 that are unlocked and 830 that are unlocked. So that's something to keep in mind. And if you guys want to figure out what situation works best for you or what strategy works best for you, those are the different strategies you guys can use. We kind of talked about everything being equal. Now there are some factors that are wild cards. Now, as you can see, we're averaging if it's at 4 million. Now, say for example, the trading volume just literally goes nuts and ham one day. Let's say it goes to, I don't know, 100 million. Like 10x, or I'm sorry, that would be 25x what it is. Well, then you can factor in these numbers that are right here, and say for example it's giving you 35 cents every single week. You would multiply that by 25. At that rate in time, 25 times the 0.35 is clearly going to be way more than the 0.02. It's actually going to be about 8% per day. So at that point in time, not day, but per week. At that point in time, it would have been best to have it in the bank. So there's always different factors involved into it. It's complicated, so you can do a little bit of both if you wanted to. So I mean, it can get a bit complicated, but that's why I tried to keep everything equal and numbers equal. But yeah. So as always, guys, we'll leave you guys with a wisdom one-liner. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys smash up the like. And if you guys have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave them in the description below. I'd be happy to help. Proverbs chapter 15 verses 1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger.